So, I don't know why my brain automatically went there, but when you said the word enhancement, a lot of people online refer to that era of the WWF as the steroid era. Was there any pressure or any conversation about Dusty trying to change his physique? And by saying that, I don't mean necessarily that anybody say, go take steroids. I'm not asking that. I'm asking, did he feel the need to try to trim down, to drop some weight? Was there any conversation about him just trying to change his physique for WWF television?
Yes, there was. And Dusty brought that up. And Dusty, when he started and he came up in a conversation with Vince, told Vince that he was eating salads and chicken breasts and was on a diet and exercising and hitting the treadmill and all these things. And Vince looked at him and said, why? I want you as you are. I want to see the puppies. I want the flab. I don't change a thing. So to the contrary, and Dusty felt that he needed to get in shape, if you will. Dusty was in great shape, an incredible athlete. This was a big guy.
Right.
But he could move for a big guy. And, you know, I laugh when people would say, oh my God, look at that sloppy son of a bitch. How can that be an athlete? He was a stud throughout his entire career. Even then, he could move and he could go.
So help me understand when you're saying puppies, and I know I'm circling back to something silly here. Are you suggesting that Vince McMahon coined that phrase and not Jerry Lawler? Are you crushing all of my dreams here today?
I think I'm crushing your dreams there, pal. Yes.
So Vince McMahon.
That's a Vince term, puppies.
Okay. I don't think that. Well, I didn't know that. Maybe the whole internet knew that, and I didn't. But so the music is iconic. The Dusty Rhodes theme song. Is that something that you guys just had in the can for somebody at some point, or was that specific for Dusty Rhodes as far as the beat and all that? Obviously, 100%, the lyrics.
100% specific for Dusty Rhodes, written and performed by Jimmy Hart.
Wow.
And that was for Dusty, and Jimmy wrote it, and with his partner, I think his partner's name was Jimmy McGuire, and they knocked it out of the park. Jimmy Hart also did Big Boss Man too.
Two iconic themes for sure.
Yeah. So it was without a doubt, definitely for Dusty Rhodes.
So then as we continue to talk about the pay-per-views, Macho would work again with Dusty at SummerSlam, but then Survivor Series 1990, Dusty Rhodes is on the babyface team, and there is a debut heel character on the opposite side of the ring, and it's Kane the Undertaker. And then that was pretty much the beginning of the end for Dusty. Kind of tell us your memories about, Mean Mark Callis then debuting at that Survivor Series and Dusty's involvement in that match, because they would have certainly crossed paths in the past. Did anybody have any sort of issue with putting over this new guy so strong? And then kind of what was the exodus for Dusty from the WWF?
I remember that obviously. But there was no problem at all with making sure that everybody in that match, that match was designed to get the Undertaker over in a huge debut and to make him look like a killer in there. And Dusty was a big part of that. It may have been the fact that I just whipped Dusty's ass so bad on the outside of the ring that night that he had to leave in shame, having Brother Love whoop his ass on the outside of the ring, that maybe that's why he had to stick his tail between his legs and leave. But no, actually when Dusty left, Dusty had an opportunity to go back to Atlanta in a booking position. And he went to Vince and says, hey, they got a shake up down here, and I've been offered my old job back. And Vince wouldn't stand in his way.
Now, here's my question. We started this conversation, and I do want to circle back to Dustin for a minute, but I want to follow up on that thought right there, because we started this conversation by talking about, Vince didn't really make guarantees on contracts, and we just talked through what the Vince pitch was, and it was kind of understood that most guys would believe they would make more money, and you said in most cases they do. So if this is for more money and he's making more money right now, why the hell would he want to go back to his old job?
power and the lure of more money there.
So he felt like the booking position there would pay more than a performer with dolls and magazines and everything else.
Right.
Okay.
Because he was in charge and he was also working and in a position to put himself in a top position and be a part of everything.
Which he didn't do when he went back, by the way.
He went back as a booker, but no, I don't think he
didn't book himself into anything.
He didn't book himself into that, no.
So the last, sort of time we'll see him on WWF TV for a long time is the Royal Rumble 1991, right around that early 1991 period, and he's tagging with Dusty Rhodes. Is there any sort of irony in the fact that they are wrestling Ted DiBiase and Virgil on his way out? That it's Virgil versus Virgil? Is there any real thought put into that? Because that, too, to me, seems like a rib. That Virgil Runnels' last pay-per-view match is against a character, manservant, that was also named Virgil after him.
Absolutely not, because we had done the program with DiBiase and brought Dustin in, and it was just conclusion to that program.
How does that come about? Does Dusty recommend Dustin coming to New York, or does Vince ask about him?
No, Dusty recommended him. He was in Kansas City at the time, and we were coming through there, and we actually put him on some of the house shows that we had, and Dustin did a hell of a job. So we brought him in and did a little something with him at the time.
Why was there not a play to try to keep him or do something bigger with him, and just instead of just letting him go back with his dad?
Because Dusty wanted him back.
Okay.
Dusty wanted him to come with him, and out of respect to Dusty. That's the other thing that people don't always realize with Vince McMahon is, I know there's times that he's maybe gone back on his word with some people, but for the most part, if he gives you his word that he's going to do something, he'll do it. And he's fair. And he really doesn't do things out of malice.
Right.
There's exceptions to that rule, obviously. But Dusty had an opportunity to go back, and it's what he was going to be happy doing, having the booking position in Atlanta. And Vince was like, if you're going to be happier there, I don't want somebody here that's going to be unhappy. Right. And if your son feels more comfortable being there, working with you, and you want him, I'm not going to stand in his way either. So those are things that he's done a lot of times over the years that people don't realize, and they wonder, well, that doesn't make any sense. It did, because for the right business reasons of having a happy camper or an unhappy camper, go ahead and, if you got an unhappy camper, get him out of camp.
Yeah, that makes sense. So let's talk about some fun stuff. Let's kind of rapid fire some of these. I'm sure you've got some fun stories here. True or false? Dusty Rhodes in the locker room, cowboy boots, and not much else.
Yeah, pretty much. Or a T-shirt.
But no pants.
No pants, no. First thing Dream did when he got into a locker room was drop his drawers.
Why does Dusty hate pants so much?
I don't know. Maybe he got chafed or something. But yes, that's a true story. That's pretty much true wherever he was.
Your favorite Dusty rib? Dusty had to have a great sense of humor based on what little we fans know. There has to be a fun Dusty rib. Since nothing else was a rib, Sapphire wasn't a rib, polka dots weren't a rib. There's no such thing as a rib. But Dusty had to have a good sense of humor and rib somebody.
Dusty had a great sense of humor. I don't know. Well, it was a rib on me, but it was just kind of funny to give you an example of Dusty's kind of sense of humor. We were in Cincinnati, and Dream and I were traveling together. And Dusty always liked to stay off the beaten path, away from everybody else. And we pull up to a hotel, a brand new Hilton hotel at the Cincinnati airport. We pull up. Sapphire and Sherry pull up right behind us. Now, we had no idea where we were staying that night. We were going to go in and see if they had rooms. And they pull up and go, oh, hey, are you guys staying here? And Dusty says, yeah, baby, we're staying here, but they sold out for the night. Y'all need to go to the nice little Fairfield Inn over there, or Hampton Inn down the street. Real nice for y'all. I called in. They got reservations for y'all over there when I thought they didn't have no more rooms over here. and would send the girls on their way so that nobody would stay with us. We go in, all right, and Dream is telling me, Pungenhead, let me handle this because I stay here all the time. They know me here. I get us a good rate. We walk in, and now this place is brand spanking new.
He stays here all the time.
He stays there all the time. I get a good rate. Let me handle everything. And we walk in, and the girl says, "Oh, hey, welcome. We're so happy to have you. This is our first weekend open." And I'm looking at Dream like, stay here all the time, right? I mean, they just built this place. They just opened it a week ago. So we go in, and Dream and I had made plans to go to a movie that afternoon before the show. So we go in, and we go to our separate rooms, and I throw my bags in my room, and I go to Dusty's room, and I knock on the door and walk in, and he's there.
No pants.
No pants. He just has his T-shirt on, sitting on the bed, and he turns the TV on, and on the TV it says, "The Cincinnati Airport Hilton welcomes Dusty Rhodes." Wow. on the TV screen. And he looks, I'm looking at that, and I'm like, what the hell? He goes, oh man, he goes, they do that all the time. He goes, always tell them, they don't need to do that to let everybody know I'm here and all that. I don't like it when they do that. So I'm like, yeah, okay. So I don't even think about it. I'm just thinking it's odd that you turn on the TV and
sure.
the Hilton is welcoming Dusty Rhodes. Now, you got to go back in time to 1989 when technology wasn't as sophisticated as it is now.
It's a big deal back then.
Yeah. So he decides that he's too tired to go to a movie and he's just going to hang out in the room. So I go back to my room, turn the TV on, and the Cincinnati Airport Hilton welcomes Bruce Prichard. So now I get it. Okay. You check in your room, they program your name, they welcome you on the screen. So I call him, go, hey, you asshole. I said, that's something they do for everybody. He goes, no, Pungenhead, what it was is I saw your face when you looked at the TV and thought they had only recognized me. And I called down to the front desk and said, hey, can y'all put Bruce Prichard's name up there on the TV so he don't feel bad?
I love him.
That's the kind of sense of humor he had. And that's, the way that he was. And you could call BS on all of it, and he would look you right in the face and go, no, Pungenhead, I did that for you, baby. I didn't want you to feel bad.
All right, time out. I got to tell you, I'm still not sold on the idea that Vince McMahon created the term puppies. I just want to believe that's Jerry Lawler's word. Don't you? Like it feels like it's Jerry's word. But it is kind of funny to hear him talk as Vince McMahon talking about the puppies. And I thought it was cool that we briefly got to talk about Dustin coming in. Where are you at on the whole tag situation? Dusty and Dustin on one side, DiBiase and Virgil on the other. Don't you think that's just rubbing your nose in a rib? I mean, Bruce doesn't think so, but it feels like it to me. I don't know. I got to think occasionally they book stuff just to make themselves laugh. But I do wonder if this show has occasionally changed the perception of Vince McMahon, because Bruce always hangs his hat on, why would we invest time, effort, energy, and money in something that we don't want to work? Why would we knowingly, throw these valuable dollars and all of this effort away? Why would we waste it? And that kind of makes sense to me. And we hear that pretty consistently, even from Jim Ross, where, we all have our initial knee-jerk reaction to some of those decisions, but don't we all sort of come back to Bruce's thinking of, well, I guess if it was my money, I don't know that I'd waste it on that. And that's certainly what JR says. What do you think, though? Do you think that Vince would just knowingly throw away valuable time, effort, energy, and money just for a cheap laugh? I don't know. And I think that maybe we've changed some people's mind about that with Something to Wrestle. Something that I haven't changed my mind about, though, is this hotel rib on Bruce, where he says that his name is on there because they did something special for him. And of course it's on Bruce's as well. Bruce's ability to tell stories just shines through in a major way on this first podcast.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.